Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of building an app with FuelPHP. In the first video, we went ahead and installed FuelPHP. We set up our post controller, our model, and some of the views. And right now, we're fetching our post from the database. And you can see we have the blog roll on the front page. And then if we click on View More, that's going to show us the whole post. So now what we want to focus on is adding posts. All right, so you can see if we go here, we have this add view text. That's coming from the view, the add.php file that's in the views posts folder. And what we're going to do now is create a form to add a post. All right, now if we go to the documentation for FuelPHP, you can see we have this form class that we can use, and it gives us an example of this. You can see this is right here is basically the opening tag for the form. We can put in where we want it to go. We can put in our inputs. You can see we have echo form input. And if you've ever used something like CodeIgniter, this is probably very familiar. Okay, it's basically just like the form helper. All right, so we're going to go ahead and use this. And I don't think there's a full form that we can copy. Let me see. No, so we'll just kind of do it in pieces. All right, so let's grab this. And of course, you can just copy it. But first of all, I'm going to put a heading in here that just says add post. Alright, and then we need our PHP tag, and we're going to echo that. Alright, now where we want this to go is the add action. Okay, so we can say /posts/add. Alright, now I'm aware that this is the same route that shows the form, but there's a way that we can check to see if it was actually submitted, so that we know, if the form was submitted or not, and we're supposed to interact with the database, or if we're just supposed to show the form. All right, so don't worry about that. And then to close it off, we're going to say PHP echo form close. Okay, and then we're going to have some labels, and let me just check this real quick. There should be code for labels right here. Alright, so we want to grab that. And we'll say PHP echo label. And we're going to go ahead and change this to title. And change this to title, lowercase. So that's our label. Then, actually, you know what I want to do is put each label and input inside of a div, because we are using Bootstrap and I want to format it correctly. So this will be form group. Alright. So that's the label, and then for the input, let's see, we want this right here. I think. Just want to check something real quick. Yeah, we'll grab that. All right. So we'll say PHP, paste that in. All right. We don't need this style. What I do want is a class. So let's do class and then form control, which is strictly for Bootstrap. And we want to change this to title. Now we can pre-fill a value here, and what I want to do is I want to do something different. I want to basically make it so that if this is an edit form, the field that's from the database is going to display. If not, then it's going to display nothing as the value. So to do that, we can use input and then post. And then inside here, we want to put in title. And then we're going to do a conditional. We're going to say is set post. So we're checking to see if the post is set. If it is, then we're going to display post title. And then if it isn't, we're going to display just nothing, just an empty string. Alright, so that looks good. So let's copy that whole form group And let's just paste a couple more in here. Okay, so this one here will be the, let's do the category. And now this I actually want to be a select list. So we're going to change this input to select. And then this is going to be category. Alright, and then we're going to take this out, this input, this whole thing here. And we don't want anything selected, so let's just say none. And then that's good. Now the options are going to go in another parameter right here. So it's going to be another array. Okay, and I'm just going to space this out a little. Oops. Alright, so now we can say none. Actually, you know what? Instead of none, let's change both of these to 0. Alright, and then that's going to say select. We'll say select category. So that'll be the first option. Next one will be, let's say, web design. And whoops, then we'll say programming. And I guess we'll do one more, we'll say graphic design. Alright, so that's our select list. That should be good. Then we're going to have, what's next? The body. Okay. Now instead of input, this is going to be text area. And we want to change that. Okay, and then this stuff can stay the same. We just want to change this to body. And let's see, if it's there, then we're going to display it. If not, then it won't have any value. Alright, and then let's see what else we have. Tags. Tags can stay as an input, that's fine. Alright, and that should be it. So we don't need this last one here. What we do need is now we need an input button. So we're going to say div class actions. And all we have to do is say PHP echo form submit. And we're going to call this send. Alright, and that should be it for our form. So let's check it out. Okay, so we have an error, unexpected comma on line 9. Okay, so let's see, I messed that up somehow. Oh, we get 2 commas in a row. Yeah, you guys probably saw that a while ago. Alright, so there's our form. Looks good. So if we submit it, it's not going to do anything. What we need to do is go to our controller and go to posts, and we're going to be dealing with this action add. Right now it's just displaying the template. What we need to do is we need to test to see if the form is actually submitted or not. So what we can do is say if, I'm going to say if input post send. Okay, now send, if you remember, that's what we called the submit button. So we're checking to see if the submit button was pressed. Alright, so if it was, then we're going to say post equals, and then we're going to say new, whoops, new model post. Okay, and then we can continue to do our fields. So we'll say post title, and that's going to equal input post title. Alright, and then we'll do that for the rest of the fields as well. Copy that. Okay, so we get post title, we'll do category. And body. And tags. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything here. Title, category, body, tags. Yep. Okay. And then at the end of that, we're going to call post save. Okay, so that'll save it in the database. Then what we want to do is we want to set a message that's going to say that the post was saved. So to do that, we can use the session class, and we can use set flash. And this is going to be a success message. And then the message itself will just say post added. And then finally we need to redirect. Alright, to do that we can use the response class. What's great about FuelPHP is that you have access to all these different classes or helpers, whatever you want to call them. You don't have to load them like you would have to in CodeIgniter. They're just available. So response, redirect, and we want to go to, let's just go to the home page. Alright, now in order for this message to be shown, we have to add something to the view. So let's save that, and then we're going to go to our index view, and we want to go right, we'll go right above the for each. And we're going to have to do an if statement. We're going to say if okay, so we want to say if session get flash, if session get flash success, because that's what we named it, then we're going to want to display that. Okay, so we'll say PHP. Actually, you know what? We'll put this in a div. And we're going to give it a class of alert. And then alert success. And then in there, we'll say PHP echo. And then you want the session get flash success. And you can do the same thing with an error. If you want to put out an error, then you just have to, instead of success, you want to put error. So we'll paste that as well. That, change this to danger, which will make it a red alert. And change this to error. Alright, so we'll save that. Now hopefully we can add a post. Actually, there's one more thing I want to do because it messed me up the last time, is since we have the create date in our model right here, we have to submit that. So what I'm going to do is go back to the controller, to our action add, and then I'm just going to add on to here post create date, and then I'm going to set that to the date function. And we're just going to format it for SQL. We're going to say y-m-d, and then we want to do h:I:s. Alright, so that's just going to put the current date and time. So we'll save that, and let's just reload this and try to add a post. So we'll say my third post, web design, body, and tags. Submit, and there we go, post added, and you can see we have my third post. Alright, so we can now add posts to our blog. So now what we want to do is we also want to be able to edit a post. All right, so if we go to a view page, let's make it so that we can see an edit and a delete link at the bottom. So let's go back to, let's see, we want to go to views, posts, and then view.php. And let's go down to the bottom here. We'll put in a line break and also an HR tag. And let's create a couple links. Okay, so this will be /posts, /post/edit / and then we need the ID. So we'll say PHP echo post ID. And let's also give this a class btn default. And this will just say edit post, or just edit. And then I also want to have a delete button, so I'm going to copy this. Okay, and then paste that in. I'm going to change this to danger and change this to delete. Alright, so let's take a look at that. You know what, let's take out that line break and put it underneath the buttons. Let's put another one. There we go. Alright, we want to change the text to delete. Okay, so now when we click edit, it's going to give us an error because we don't have an edit action or a view. So let's go and create the action. So we'll go back to our post controller. Alright, and you know what we can do is copy the view action because it's pretty similar. And we're going to change this to edit. Same thing, we're going to pass in the ID. It's going to find the post for us. And we want to just change, let's see, we'll change the title to edit post, and then let's change this to edit. Okay, and then it's gonna load the edit view for us. So let's save that, and we'll go and create inside views posts. We'll create a file called edit.php. And what we're going to do is copy what we have in the add view because it's pretty much the same. Okay, we want the same form. So we'll copy all that, paste it in the edit view. I'm going to change the heading. And we're also going to change where this goes. So it's going to go to posts, edit, and then we need the ID. So we'll say PHP echo post ID. And everything else can stay the same since we have this piece of code here, this input post. It should put whatever is in the database. It should pre-fill the form. Only thing we have to do is with this category, we want to change this from being 0 to being the actual category. So we'll say echo post category. Actually, I'm sorry, we don't need the PHP tags because we're already in a set of PHP tags, so that should be fine. Alright, so let's save that and let's see what we come up with. Alright, so now we have our form and you can see it's all filled out, which is perfect. Now we need to take care of the submission, so we'll go back to the edit action and we're going to copy what we have up here in the add action, this part. And we're going to put this, let's put it up at the top right here. Alright, so we're going to check for send. Now instead of saying we want a new post, we're going to change this. I'm going to say equals model post, and then in here, actually no, we're going to go like this, model post find. And then we're going to pass in input post, and actually, you know what? We need to also add a field to the edit form. a hidden field that passes the ID, and we'll call that post ID. Alright, so let's go add that now. We need to go back to edit PHP, and then down at the bottom, right above the buttons, we're going to say input type equals hidden. Name is going to equal post ID. Value is going to be the ID, so we can say PHP echo post ID. Alright, and that's it. So back in our controller, back in the edit action, whoops, did I put that in the view? I did. This has to go in edit, not view. Okay. So now this is going to come from the hidden field. So it's going to find the post for us, then we're going to change it to whatever we put in the form. That's what this takes care of. We'll change the message here to, instead of post added, we'll say post updated. And redirect, that's fine. Yeah, so the rest is good. So let's save that. And let's go ahead and see if we can change this. So instead of my first post, let's change this to the number 1. We'll say my first post, like that. And we'll change it to programming. Okay, so post updated, you can see that's changed. And we're not displaying the category. I guess we could do that. So if we go into our view, and we can just, I guess at the bottom we can put our category and our tags. Alright, so we'll put a UL. And we'll say category and we'll do the same thing for tags. Alright, and that should now be programming, which it is. Alright. So we can now read posts, we can create them, we can edit them. Now we just want to be able to delete them. Alright, which isn't hard at all. So we're going to go back to the controller, and of course we're going to need another view, which will be the delete view. I'm sorry, the delete action. So paste that in, change this to delete. And then instead of saying all this, let's just do find. And we should be able to just pass in the ID like that. And then we'll just say post delete. And we don't need a view for the delete. We just want to send a message and then redirect. So I'm going to copy that. Put that there. Okay, we'll say post deleted. Save it. Okay, let's go back. Okay, we're in the first post. We'll click delete. We get post deleted, and you can see there's no more first post. So we now have a complete CRUD application using the FuelPHP framework. Now obviously this isn't something you would just go and deploy on your website. There's no login, there's no user authentication or anything like that. You'd probably want categories stored in the database. There's a lot you would do for this to actually be a production app, but just to get you familiar with the framework, I think this is a good start, good foundation. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, whatever you can do is fine. Alright, thanks guys.